Alright, I was told that I need to spice my videos up a little bit, so I'm going to try to do a little bit of an accent through the whole video. We'll see how this goes. Alright, we are going to talk about our last proportion setup. It's going to be, I think I'm like combining British, Australian, and Irish. So I have some horrible accents going on. So we're going to do percent of change. So percent of change, accent. Oh my god, I suck. I can't. Percent of change occurs when there is an increase or decrease. So for examples, this happens a lot of times in businesses that you have to figure out an increase or a decrease. So for example, I worked at a grocery store. They calculate if they have any increases or decreases in sales in certain departments. So they have their meat market department, bakery department, deli department, grocery department, and produce department. So they have all these departments. And sometimes there's increases and decreases in sales. So they calculate those and keep up with if they're constantly increasing, which is good, or if they're decreasing, which is bad. So I could say something like, there was a 50% increase in sales at Kroger's last week. So these are businesses types of things. Or I could say, if I worked in the stock market, there was a 5% decrease in stocks yesterday. So I can have a percent increase or decrease. Okay, this is going to be our proportion setup. There will be a nice pretty poster on the front of the board that will help you with all of your proportion setups that you've learned so far. And I think we've learned 4. So this is our last one. Percent of change is finding the amount of change over the original amount, and percent over 100. Hey, this has not changed since yesterday. Still percent over 100. So number 1, Jim's car was averaging 15 miles per gallon of gasoline. After he had a tune-up on the car, he noticed the car now gets 20 miles per gallon. So Jim went from 15 to 20. So my question's now asking, what was the percent increase in miles per gallon? So if there's ever a percent increase, or it could say percent decrease, I want to use this handy dandy proportion setup. So I sometimes abbreviate this to AOC because it's a lot to write, amount of change over original. So I do AOC. So I'm going to use this box. This is going to help us organize. So our original amount was the 15 miles per gallon. That's the original amount that Jim's car got. My new amount is 20 miles per gallon. It's asking, am I increasing or decreasing? And if I went from 15 to 20, I increased. And now I want to find my AOC, my amount of change. So to figure out my amount of change, I'm going to subtract my new and my original. So I'm going to subtract 20 minus 15. And 20 minus 15 will give us 5. So our amount of change is 5. So now when I set my proportion up, remember, I want to do amount of change over original equals percent over 100. I'm calculating the percent. I don't know what my percent of increase was, so X is going to go where the percent is. X over 100. I'm going to put my amount of change on top. So I changed by 5 miles per gallon. So my change is 5. And my original amount, so the original amount of miles per gallon that Jim got was 15. So that goes on bottom. Okay, and there's our proportion setup. So before I solve this, I want to see if I can simplify because it makes it easier on me. So I can simplify the 5 and the 15 by dividing by 5. So 5 divided by 5 would give us 1. 15 divided by 5 would give us 3. So that's a lot better, not so big. So now let's cross multiply. X times 3 is 3x. Bring down your equal sign. 1 times 100 is 100. We're going to divide by 3 on both sides, so we divide by what's attached to x. And then 100 divided by 3 is going to be 33.3%. So it'd be a repeating decimal, but we're just going to round it to the tenths place. So I could say Jim's car had a 33.3% increase in miles per gallon. Okay, let's do number 2. Janet decided to purchase a pair of jeans. Okay, and this happens a lot at stores. If you guys like to go shopping for any clothes shopping, like at American Eagle, Hollister, I don't know where you guys shop anymore. American Eagle and Hollister used to be the place to go when I was in school. So, the jeans were originally marked $50. Oh dear, I don't want to have a cough attack. But are now marked on sale for $30. My question says, what is the percent decrease? So anytime a question talks about a percent increase or a percent decrease, I have to use my handy dandy percent of change setup. Okay, so let's fill this in. This is going to be really helpful. So our original amount for the jeans were $50. My new amount for the jeans is now $30. They're on sale. So now I'm asking, is there an increase or a decrease? Well, if my original was 50 and my new is 30, I had a decrease. So now let's find our AOC, our amount of change. So to do that, I just subtract my original and my new. Whichever number is bigger, you need to put on top. So here I had to put my new on top because it was bigger, but here I'm putting my original on top because it was bigger. 50 minus 30 is 20. So I had a $20 amount of change, $20 amount of change. This is why I can't teach, because I'm going to be coughing 1,000 times. Now, I have my nice handy dandy setup right here, percent of change, and I want to follow that. I don't know what the percent is. It specifically says, what is the percent? So, X will go where the percent sign is, over 100. Okay, and then I'm going to put my amount of change on top, so my AOC, which was 20 in this case. And then I put my original amount on bottom. So my original amount was the $50 for the jeans, so 50 goes on bottom. So I'm going to simplify the 20 and the 50. Actually, I'm not going to simplify because I see something super handy and easy. I have a scale factor going towards the X. So I can multiply 50 by something to get to 100. So that's nice. 50 times 2 gives me 100. Do that to the top. 20 times 2 will give me X. So 20 times 2 is 40. So I had a 40% decrease in my jeans. So last one. Please pay attention to this one because this one's different. In 2000, a movie ticket cost $7. In the year 2018, tickets are 50% more expensive. So this one, they're giving me the percent increase. How much are the movie tickets in 2018? So I want to know how much my movie tickets are in 2018. So my original is from 2000, which they cost $7. Okay. My new amount, okay, so I'm going to put the year. So this is 2000. This is 2018. I don't know how much the tickets were in 2018. That's what my question's asking. So I have no idea how much my new amount is. Was there a percent increase or decrease? Yes, there was a percent increase. They're 57% more expensive. So I increased. My amount of change, my AOC. Well, if I don't know my new amount, I can't figure out my amount of change. So I don't know this either. Let's get our proportion ready to go. we're following this still because I had an increase in the ticket sale or the ticket amounts. So my percent over 100, it was 57% more expensive. Percents, they always go over 100. So 57% will go over 100. Okay? Next, I want to put my amount of change on top and my original on bottom. So I don't know my amount of change. We put a question mark here. So X is going to go in for the amount of change. I do know my original amount, though. My original amount was the $7. So I'm going to figure out what my amount of change would have been. Then I can figure out my new. So let's cross multiply. 57 times 7 is going to be 399. Bring down my equal sign. X times 100 is 100x. We're going to divide by what's attached to x on both sides. So I divide by 100. And now I'm doing 399 divided by 100. And that'll give us 3.99. Okay, so this represents x, which x represented my amount of change. So now I know my amount of change is $3.99. But remember, my question wants to know how much the movie tickets are in 2018, which represents my new. So if I know my amount of change and my original amount, I can figure out what the new amount for 2018 would be. So I want to add my amount of change and my original. So I'm going to add the $7 from my original amount, because in 2000 the movie tickets cost $7. So plus the amount of change. So this was my increase in ticket price. So they added $3.99 to ticket sales. So that would be $10.99. So this is my new price for the tickets in 2018. So my answer is $10.99. So this one kind of worked a little bit backwards. So we're done with notes. Go ahead and glue them in.